Officials say nearly half of the 680 undocumented migrants arrested in raids throughout Mississippi Wednesday have been released pending their day in court. Katherine Johnson reports from Washington.
Hundreds of children came home Wednesday, some on the first day of school, to find their parents had been taken away by Immigration and Customs Enforcement.
So I want my dad to be free and everybody else.
When I'm alone, I would need my dad with me.
Agents targeted 7 food processing plants in 6 central Mississippi cities. The raids had been planned for more than a year as part of an ongoing criminal investigation. Hundreds of federal law enforcement officers detained 680 migrants and processed them at this now empty National Guard airport hangar.
They have to come here legally, or they shouldn't come here at all.
Some of the children left alone were taken in by neighbors. Others spent the night at local schools. Jordan Barnes, the owner of a boot camp fitness facility, also opened his doors.
Everybody does need to have the kids, needs to hold the kids first and foremost in their mind. And that's what we've tried to do here, is just give them a place to stay, just to kind of ease the pain.
Immigration advocates in Mississippi blasted the raids.
We are ashamed about what our state is doing, but we're here to let everyone know around the world that we're going to fight back.
ICE officials say about half of the migrants detained, particularly those with children, have been released to return home. Their cases will ultimately be resolved by a federal judge. The others are being moved to detention facilities. Katherine Johnson, CBS News, Washington.
Jeremy Litton is an immigration attorney in Jackson, Mississippi, and he joins me now. Jeremy, thanks very much for being with us. How many cases is your firm working on related to this raid?
Good afternoon. We have, in the last 24 hours or so, once the news started breaking and we started getting calls from the community, we've had about 30 different families and groups in to either sign contracts for themselves or for their client or for their families to investigate what's going on and what ICE plans to do.
And how is your firm handling this influx of cases?
We've set up something like an immigration triage, like you would think of an emergency room at the hospital, where we get vital statistics for people, name, location, where you're from, how long you've been in the United States, your age, and we go from there. Most of the people that are coming in that have been detained and then released are coming in without even A numbers, which is how the government identifies people. So we're not able to really get in depth right now, but we believe with those basic information, we can go forward like you would in an emergency room and ultimately determine relief, see where family is, and help them with their court cases or detention.
So illegal re-entry into the United States is now a felony. How has it changed the way lawyers advise people about their interactions with ICE officials?
Well, as you may know, and as your viewers may know, that ICE, they have enforcement authority over immigrants and people who do not have status in the United States, and really anybody that's a non-citizen. So what has happened in the past is that ICE would pick up someone and they would have a conversation with them and ask basic immigration questions, the same ones I kind of mentioned just now, the triage, which is, where are you from, how long have you been in the United States, that type of thing. Now the issue is, since you're talking about, well, how many times have you come into the United States? Well, beforehand, it wouldn't have been a problem. Now that it's a felony, if you say 1 or 2 times, then ultimately you've now implicated yourself in a criminal act. So these conversations that are quasi-civil in nature have all of a sudden become part of a criminal investigation, and you've incriminated yourself without even realizing it.
So what are the next steps for you and your teams there?
So the next steps for us are to find out where these people are being located, housed. We found that many of the men are going to a newly online detention facility in Adams County, Mississippi. We found out that women and men are going to a couple of different detention facilities in Louisiana. So at this point, we are going to try to get with deportation officers and the ICE people that are in enforcement removal operations and see what we can do as far as getting those people released on bond or parole. And if not, then trying to get bond hearings through the court. And ultimately, if it looks like people that are being picked up are either reinstatements of removal orders or removal orders that have not been enacted yet, tell the family that even though it's tough to hear, that there may not be anything that can be done.
All right, Jeremy Litton for us. Jeremy, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Have a good day.